I'm Jennifer House. I'm one of the counselors with the Ascension Employee Assistance Program, and I hope you've been joining us for this short series on compassion fatigue. Up to now, we've been talking about compassion fatigue on a more personal and professional level. But there's some unique things that have been happening in our world that have really brought this to a more complexity in compassion fatigue than we've probably seen before. And I've invited Steve DeClark to be with us to talk a little bit more on a macro level of some of the changes that we're seeing in our community and how that then trickles down to our healthcare providers. Steve is also a counselor with Ascension Employee Assistance Program in the Milwaukee area. Thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
So Steve, tell me, this whole social distancing thing, how is that affecting mental health?
I'll tell you the good news first. What is helpful is that people are working from home and they don't have to commute. So that's nice. The other thing that I'm hearing from people is that when they're working from home, they're not dealing with the coworkers who used to drive them crazy. So that's been helpful, decreasing their stress. However, there's a lot of negativity about social distancing, and that is affecting people where they can't be with other people. They're social people, and that's been very difficult for them. And you can't be with your grandparents, things like that. And even for myself, I have a grandchild, and I haven't been able to hold him in a long time because of my daughter's a nurse and afraid of the COVID giving to us and my wife. And so it's been stressful that you can only see people through a window or things like that. And so it's been really hard. It's giving a lot of anxiety, depression, and a lot of lethargy. And the lethargy is because our bodies have this muscle memory, and when we're not doing what we normally do because we're working from home, our bodies are like, what's going on? Now I'm sleeping late, now I'm staying up late, and I'm used to getting up and going and dressing up, and and now that you're working from home, our bodies like routine, and now that our routine is gone, it's just completely switched. I'm getting a lot of people saying, I just feel real lethargic.
I think a lot of people what day is this? What month?
Yeah.
It's all blending together.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I have to guess is that, just because we have this pandemic, that doesn't mean that regular mental health issues, relationship issues, domestic issues, they don't go away. In fact, it just adds another level. So what are you seeing in terms of levels of other concerns in the community?
Well, what's happening is people would usually come to a counselor to say, I have this issue I'm stressed out about.
Right.
What I'm seeing now is someone will come in saying their grandfather died of COVID, and my husband lost his job. Just the COVID is very stressful.
Right.
But now you have a job, the health insurance is gone, the daycare is gone because of that. So now you have so many things. It's not just one thing anymore. It's multiple. So it can be overwhelming, and it is overwhelming. But the good news is there's things we help them with, take things one at a time that people are able to get through. They're very resilient, but it's more intensity now because there's so many. And then with domestic abuse is going up because people are home all the time, and unfortunately, sadly, there's more fighting and that. And child abuse, although the numbers have gone down, and that's because children, normally you find out about child abuse because they're out of the home and someone sees it.
Right.
But now that the kids are home, the only time you're seeing child abuse now is when it's a very dire, they bring the kid in and it's a very dire situation.
We've also been seeing just skyrocketing levels of suicide attempts and depression.
Yeah.
I think our crisis lines are just flooded.
Yeah, everything is going up, and even to get into a counselor can take a month or more. And many of them aren't seeing people.
Yes.
So that's the good thing about EAP is you can get in much quicker. We have a much quicker turnaround, and it won't take that long. But I do think getting professional help is the key, and that does help a lot of people.
Yeah. So then how does this relate back to our healthcare providers? So, they also are having to deal with the pandemic. They also have the personal issues, like you were mentioning, your daughter as a nurse also has a personal life that's affected with this. And then as a professional provider, that now if you're seeing more child abuse cases or if you're seeing other persons who are losing loved ones, how does that affect compassion fatigue?
Well, it makes it harder, and that's because it's more intense. So what's happening is the providers I work with, they come home and they're exhausted. And so when they're exhausted, they're not eating right, they're eating junk, they're not sleeping well, and they're not taking care of themselves, they're not exercising now, the gym is closed, whatever. So they're snowballing into this negative thing where they're kind of slowly falling apart, and that's where they call us. But the good news is when they do call us, we can kind of dissect everything and get them to snowball in a positive direction. Just simple things like walking, starting to do that, starting to do a routine that our bodies want can snowball in the positive direction. And so we'll, if their mind is racing on negative things, we help them to, it's called, stopping their thinking to get out of their head. And there's all kinds of different techniques they can do to decrease that stress because it is so much more intense nowadays, unfortunately.
But like you mentioned, I'm seeing a lot of people that are finding meaning and taking a moment to step back and kind of, what is really important to me, and then being able to just build on that resilience. So thank you so much for being with us. If you or someone close to you is struggling with compassion fatigue or other mental health or relationship concerns, please consider contacting your employee assistance program. We're available for short-term counseling, and we also help you with resource referral and networking, and we're here to help.